Hello everyone, Ben Myers here. Today I am going to be talking about games I played in July wrap up. Because that's apparently what board game YouTubers do. At the end of every month, beginning of each month, they talk about the previous month and talk about what games they played. I played 35 plays of 22 different games, and we have a corgi that squirms, okay? Go away from me then. Bye. Bye-bye. He doesn't like being on camera. So I played 35 plays of 22 different games. So I played one game 4 times. I played 3 games that I played 3 times. I had 4 games that I played twice. And then the rest I played only once. So those were a lot of solo games, a few BGA games. I started doing BGA a lot more at the end of the month. I did some with family when I visited family over the 4th. And I played a couple with family here. Not very many, but a couple. But a lot of these are solo and BGA. Okay, so starting off first is the one I played 4 times, and that is Splendor. It is in this little box here. Splendor is a sort of an engine building game which you are getting different gems, which are poker chips, and you're using those to get different establishments, and each establishment is going to help you get more establishments in hopes of getting points. It's the first to 15 points wins. Oh, dogs are going crazy about something. Hold on 1 second. Alright, sorry about that. The dogs were going crazy. Lacey, come. This little one just keeps going crazy over everything. Don't you? Don't you, you naughty dog? Don't you, you naughty dog, you naughty doggy, you. Go on, go. Yeah, so that's Splendor. So you're trying to build up. No, don't get the squeak toy. Ugh. Get that out of here. She loves her squeak toys. So annoying. Yeah, so Splendor, you're trying to get as many points as you can. It's first to get to 15 points. It finishes out the round, triggers the end of the game, and yeah, Splendor. I played that with my dad. I brought it when I went back down to the cities. I brought this and I played this with my dad. This is one of the few games that he likes to play. And so he played this 4 times total while I was there. No, and next one I brought was Carcassonne Travel Edition. I played this with my sister and her wife. I like that it comes in this nice little pouch, and the tiles are like half the size of the normal Carcassonne tiles. And the meeples are like half the size too, but they all fell out because someone didn't close up the bag. So yep, so that happened. Cool. In Carcassonne, you are flipping over a tile from a pile, placing it onto the town in a way that fits, and you are claiming roads and cities in order to get points. Next is, so I only played that once with my sister and her wife. And next up is Santorini, which is a great abstract strategy game where it's very simple. You are moving and building. So on your turn, you will move one of your workers, and then you will be placing a tower piece. Place a block to build up to the highest level, and you're trying to get to the highest, to the 3rd level to win the game. It's a fun little abstract game. I play it on BGA quite a lot. I'm not very good at it, but I try. It's fun. I played that twice in July, and I've been playing it a little bit more this month so far. We are like 4 days into August, so I've been playing that. Next, I played solo a couple other roll-in rights. Flipping rights, I think. On Tour and Isle of Cats Explore and Draw. So Isle of Cats Explore and Draw is a flip and right version of the big Isle of Cats game that I have not yet played that I really want to, but I got this because I wanted to play Isle of Cats, but I had never got around to it, so I figured that this would be a good entry into that before I play the big one, which I also have. In this one, you have a rows of cards, and you are gonna draw in the cats from one of the rows, and in order to build families of 3 connecting or more of the same color on your boat, and you are rescuing as many cats as you can and filling up the boat as much as you can before time runs out. And then on tour, you are building up a tour route with cards. There'll be 3 cards, and there'll be dice. You'll be rolling 2d10 dice and determining which numbers will be written on each of the regions as shown on the cards. And then once you are done filling in numbers on your map, you are trying to build the longest route you can from one end to another, basically, just to the longest tour route. And so you have to really be careful when you're planning out your map, because the dice are random, so you want to make room for other numbers, so you want to be flexible, but also make sure that you have the right numbers so you can plan out your route accordingly. So that's interesting. You can really, if you don't know what you're doing, you can really screw yourself up with that, but it's fun to do even if you don't know what you're doing. I've played this before with like a 5-player game of it, and none of us knew what we were doing, and we just had a fun laughing at how bad our routes were. Next is, I played the 2-player tutorial scenario of Destinies, which was really fun. I'm not going to spoil too much of it because it's a story-driven game, but if you played Chronicles of Crime, it's the same sort of app system where it tells you the story through the app, and it tells you like what cards to flip over and what things to place out on the board, and you are going around the board, around this world. It creates a sort of medieval fantasy world that you are trying to complete your goals in. You'll have a character that have 2 specific goals. You have to accomplish one of those goals, and in hopes of accomplishing your destiny. I played as a witch, and there was a talisman that I started the game with. I ended up using the talisman for its special ability instead of actually keeping it for the end of the game, and then when I got to the end where I needed to actually use the talisman, I didn't have it anymore, so I was held back a lot of turns with that. So that's something that I did wrong. That wasn't the game's fault, that was my fault. But yeah, I don't want to spoil the game too much, but that was something that happened to me. I definitely want to play some more of this. I think my family's gonna get around to playing Destiny some more, but that was my experience with the first one, but it was still really fun. I'm not sure which one is going to be higher on my list, Chronicles of Crime or Destinies, both by Lucky Duck. But I like Chronicles of Crime just because you're not stuck to like a whole campaign. But I like the world immersion of this a lot more, and you get to really like become a character in this. Unlike with the other game, you're just trying to solve the crime. But the Chronicles of Crime, I played a little bit more, so I'm eager to get into Destinies more to see which one I like better. And next, I played on BGA, I played King of Tokyo. So this is a sort of a boss battling dice chucking game where you have a character, you're trying to control Tokyo, collecting points, different power-ups and such, attacking other monsters. You win by killing all the other monsters or by getting 20 points. So when I played, everyone was going for points, so it wasn't as much fun on BGA, because with people, I think it's a lot more fun when you're just attacking, trying to kill the monsters, but that wasn't how everyone was playing, and so I did not win. needless to say. But this was one of my favorite games when I first started playing. But I've played a lot more games since then, so this game is starting to fade a little for me. But it's still a great entry-level family game that I definitely highly recommend for people that want something that's easy, that can with a little bit of randomness, but also a ton of dice chucking fun. King of Tokyo. And I only played Marvel United once this month, so yeah, this is one of my favorite solo games because it's just easy. It doesn't take too long to set up, and you just try and attack the villain. It has some challenge to it, so I also like that. It's not very easy to beat this when you're like me and not very good at these games, but that's Marvel United. I'm not going to talk too much about that because I've already talked about it in the past. And then I also, when I went to the cities to visit my family, I brought Push. It is a push your luck card game where you are, on your turn, you are building piles in the middle of the table where you can have up to 3 piles, and you can't repeat the same color or number in each pile. And so the numbers go from 1 to 6, and there's 5 different colors. And so you are trying to push your luck, see how far you can go with getting the most cards before you bust. And there's also the black cards that you roll, and that you get. If you have a black card, you have to roll the die, and whatever that color that die lands on, you lose all your cards of that color. So you don't want to build up too many of the same color, but you want to diversify in that way, but you also want to have a bunch of cards. So it's a balance of that. And also with the 3 piles on your turn, whatever piles you don't take, go to the next players on the right. So you can really give your opponent some good stuff if you bust, or you can force them to take black cards and force them to roll and potentially lose all their cards. So it's a silly little card game that's lots of fun. Everyone was laughing and having a good time when we played that. I think we played with 7. It says 2 to 6 players, but we played it with 7 and we had 0 problems with that. So that was really fun. Next one I played solo. I played 2 times Kokoro Avenue of the Kadama, which is a re-theming of Avenue, I believe it's called. But it's set in the Kokoro, like the Kadama universe. They had a couple other games Indie Board and Cards did based on this. So I think it's the same people that did Riverside. I want to play Riverside. I'm really excited for that. But in this game, you are trying to connect different things on the maps. It's sort of similar to like Trails of Tucana, in which you have cards and you have to connect different and draw different routes with tree limbs. And you're trying to connect different symbols and different huts together. It's an okay game. I don't know if it's going to stay in my collection or not, but it's definitely one that has the race board, so that's good. So it gives it replayability in that way. And it's also got it's double-sided with different game modes. So that's cool. And it's got lots of markers. But yeah, so I'm gonna have to give it a couple more tries and see if it's something that I'm going to be keeping or if it's something I'm gonna get rid of. Alright, we just have some smaller games left. I also played Floor Plan. I tried that solo. It's by Deepwater Games, in which you are trying to roll dice and draw in specific rooms or specific decorations in your building to try and get points to accomplish different goals. I thought the game was a little lucky. I found myself a little frustrated when I was rolling the same numbers over and over again, and I wasn't able to do all the things that I wanted to do in the game. I think that's part of the game. I just wasn't prepared for that. I know in other games where you can't accomplish everything, it's fine if you're prepared for that. I don't know what it's was interesting. I'll have to give it another try before I just make a decision on whether I want to keep this or not, or get rid of this. But it was an okay game. A little lucky for me. I guess I didn't quite crack the formula on how to properly maximize this. And also, I played twice Calico, because my sister wanted me to bring this when I came down. So we played this twice. They wanted to try this because cats and quilting and patterns and stuff. It's just a game where you have your quilt board and you are building and you are drafting tiles that have 6 different colors, 6 different shapes on them. Different patterns, Not shapes. They're all hexagonal shaped pieces. But you are trying to get the most points by accomplishing different goals. You can also attracting cats to sit on your quilt by having the most touching, to have a certain number of each pattern touching each other. And you also get buttons for having 3 of the same color tiles touching each other. And so you're just trying to get the most amount of points from goals, cats, and buttons. I enjoy this game. It's one of my favorites. I enjoy the puzzling nature of it. I like that it really makes you decide what's important, because you can't accomplish every single goal in this. You have to prioritize, and you have to be okay when your plans fail. So they enjoyed Calico. I think they liked Carcassonne a little bit more, but I enjoy Carcassonne a little bit more too, though. So I don't blame them on that. Just a few more. Played a lot of roll and writes this month. So I played Rolling Realms because Jamie Stegmaier does his during the week. Sometimes he'll do the Rolling Realms games on his YouTube page. So I will sometimes play along with that. So I did that one time. That's fun. I enjoy that what he does with this is he incorporates all of his other Stegmaier games into a roll and write, and you're playing them as realms. And each of them play very differently, so it has an asymmetry that's fun. But it's also not hard. I like how he's simplified each of his games to one core mechanism and put that into a game. Alright, and the last 2 roll and writes I played is Super Skill Pinball and Roll Reeled Inc. So Super Skill Pinball 4K is a roll and write game in which you're rolling 2 dice and you are moving your pinball up and down a board, up and down the pinball cabinet, scoring point, bumping into different things, scoring points, trying to get as many points as you can before you lose your 3rd ball. And in Railroad Inc., you are rolling different train track dice. As such, I'll see if I can get them out. Yeah, so you have different train track dice here. It'll tell you what kind of tracks to draw with your dry erase markers. And you are drawing them on here, building a route as such. And trying to get the longest routes and have the largest channel of routes. Those are some decent roll and writes if you're interested in those. Lots of roll and writes this month. I think that's all of them. I played 1 game of Unmatched at the beginning of the month. Unmatched is a skirmish style card game in which each player has a character and they're going around the board attacking different monsters, attacking the other players with cards. Fun game. And then the last one I played was Just One. It is a party game in which everyone has a dry erase board here and a marker, and you'll have cards with numbers 1 through 5. So on your turn, you are going to take a card without looking at it, putting it on here, and then saying a number 1 through 5. So say I have number 4 and the word is grass. So each of the other players will write a word associated with that word on their sheet, and they can fight with each other once they're done. And if there were any repeat words, everyone that repeated a word, like if multiple people said leaf or green or mow, that will be erased, and the person that drew this card has to guess from the remaining words. It's a silly game. Whenever we play this, we never keep track of points. We just play until people get bored of playing. And that was a fun experience. I think we played with 7 players. It comes with only 6 of these, but if instead of just putting your card on one of these sheets, you just hold it up like this and close your eyes, it's easy enough. Then all the other 6 people can have a sheet to write on. And that is just one. It's a great family party game. Am I forgetting something? I don't think so. Let's see. Oh yes, I played Scrabble with my grandma because she has Scrabble and she enjoys that. And we also played, same people I played just one with, my family. On my dad's side, we played Apples to Apples, which is not my favorite game, but we had fun playing it. See if there's anything else I can think of that I'm forgetting. I don't think so. I thank you everyone for watching. I appreciate everyone that tunes into all these videos and comments and subscribes and keeps all the comments going. I appreciate it a lot. Thank you so much, everyone, and have a great rest of your day. Bye.